Hi, welcome. This is the expanding the idea section. This is the longest stretch, as I call it in the course. It's probably going to feel like the hardest work, but it's actually really liberating if you let it go and if you do it slowly and you give yourself some time. Um, you've got yourself a 3 or 4 panel comic, something like that, that you like. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to add very slowly, one at a time, 20 more panels. Add them one over here, one over here, every step of the way assessing the story again, reading the 3 panels, and then reading the 4 panels, and then reading the 5 panels, and then reading the 6, and all the way up to now you've got this 23 panel story or whatever, and just reading it. And this process of slowly adding to it, but also reading it again and again, and it really deepens the story for us. Excuse me. There's some real what feel like challenges here, so I want to talk about them. One is that you're just going to feel stuck, like I don't know what else to add. And I say in the PDF and the text, just add anything, and if you really are stuck, repeat something. And I'll show you in my example, I repeated something at least 3 times, if not 4. I'm going to ask you also 2 times to add panels that are just text, because it helps the sort of verbal part of the story, I think, come forward a little bit. If your story doesn't have a long expanse of time, the one you've chosen, the 1, 2, the 3 panel, the 4 panel, you may find it difficult to stick panels in the middle, and I'm going to ask if that's the case, then stick some in the beginning, or stick some in the end, stick some in the beginning, add to the length of the story. Figure something that could happen far in the distance and work yourself there. The last thing, if it's not clear, is to try not to let yourself run with too many panels in a row. It's really nice to sort of weave them through, because what we're trying to do here is find out what else is sort of lurking in that story, what else is sitting there that we just don't really know about. We haven't let our mind sort of discover yet. So I'm going to show you how this worked for me. Excuse me. The panels I started with, I've written down here on the right. So I started with this one that says, I was the bull tender. I brought the bull to the king in the tree. And then the next panel was this one. It was the time I dropped it and spilled it. And then this one where it says, I've been in hiding ever since. I later realized that that panel should probably be in water. This is all from my invented society. It didn't have to be. Actually, and a lot of things came from some of the random things that were thrown my way. And so what I did was I just started adding panels. The first panel I added was this one here, and I'm not even going to read them out loud too much. The next panel I added was this one here. I then added a panel which wound up all the way down here, 4. Then I added a panel up here, the first text panel only. And some of these are represented in photographs both in the course and in the group, where you can see I took some photos every couple stages. This one, which again came from one of my random images early on. Now I'm looking for number 7. I don't know where it is. Isn't that funny? Huh. Oh, that one. Oh, okay. This one. And then this one. And then this one. And I went back. And the interesting thing for me is that this story, which I thought, started as a story about a sort of king here in a tree, wound up being more about a relationship and a memory. I met my first girlfriend in a rainstorm here, and they had this sort of story, and they had this long walk before breaking up. And it actually reminded me of Marina Abramovich and Uday, I think is his name, their breakup out on the Great Wall of China. Anyway, so the interesting thing is that what was lurking in this story was different than what I expected. So that's the main thing we need to do, is expand our idea by adding those 20 panels. And I know 20 panels is a lot, and so I want to ask that you try and add 5, and then when you get to 5, go, okay, I can get to 8. And then when you get to 8, try and get to 12. And when you get to 12, try and get to 15. And then try your best to get to 20. It's doable. You'll have resistance, but play and repeat yourself. Again, I repeated myself 3 times. This silent panel I just added over and over again, and it wound up sort of inserting itself into different places. What we're going to do next is shrink this down into a much smaller form, so none of these ideas are essential. Well, 1 or 2 might be, but all of them aren't essential, and that's the important thing, is we're just sort of teasing out what could be here. One of my favorite books is called Writing Without Teachers by Peter Elbow, and he says, the wrong words, or the wrong ideas and the wrong words. And that's what we're trying to do, is just sort of like get something out that we can respond to and identify and then tinker with and finalize. And that's what the next few steps are. So thanks.